It really is a shame that in this disconnected digital age that we find ourselves in, it's very hard to get to know each other. We can't meet for drinks. We can't meet each other's family. The story of who we are is lost in a sea of cold and lifeless LinkedIn posts. I think I'd like to change that if I can. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, about who I am, where I've come from, the things I enjoy, and how that all flows into my life as an SBA lender. And to do that, we need to start at the beginning. You see, I was born in the year... Wait, hold on. This is too much. This is totally unnecessary. We don't have to go back that far. Let's start here. This is my beautiful wife, Taylor. She and I met at a cafe in the year of our Lord 2015. We fell in love and got married a year later. But 6 months before our wedding, we get the bright idea to open our very own cafe, a startup with virtually no money. So one crazy idea and a $20,000 personal loan later, and, well, a whole lot of elbow grease, and we did it. In just 2 months, we took it from this to this. At the time, I was working a night shift, so I'd go to work at 11 p.m., I'd get home at 7 a.m., I'd sleep for a few hours, then I'd go to the cafe and work all day there until about 10 p.m. and get straight back to work at 11, and I did this for about 2 months, and honestly, it sucked at the time. I don't really remember it all that well. I just remember thinking, this is what we have to do to open up the cafe before we get married, and I'm just gonna do it. And the cafe opened on schedule, May 2nd, 2016, just as we planned, and only 2 months after signing our lease. It was a huge success, and that feeling of friends and family supporting us through it all is something I very much still do remember, and I'll probably never forget. Anyway, we got our money back, and a few months later, Taylor and I got married. Life was good, and a little over 2 years into lattes and pour-overs, and we found out we're having our first baby, a boy, Felix. Then, in just 13 months, we had another, Lincoln. Now, at this point, Taylor and I really started to realize that time flies, and she wanted to spend more time with the kids, especially while they're young, and I wanted to work from home to do the same. So we sold the coffee shop, off market. I found a buyer, and we closed on the deal. And that is when it all changed. I entered the world of SBA lending. Okay, wait. Before we get into SBA, I feel like it'll help if you understand me a bit more on a personal note. First, I should probably let you know that I was homeschooled, kindergarten through 12. Certified homegrown organic. Never stepped foot in a school. And with homeschooling comes a certain level of resourcefulness. I don't exactly know why, but we're not easily overcome by obstacles. I'm not even sure we see things as obstacles. It's more like speed bumps or little annoyances to be overcome. You don't really ask if you can do something when you're homeschooled. You just sort of ask how. How can I get this thing done with what I have? And with that mindset comes hobbies. Dear Lord, do I have hobbies? Here are some of the most time-consuming. Music. Painting. Reading. And many, many more. And as some sort of cosmic joke that I'll never understand, the good Lord put me in sales but gave me zero affinity for sports. So if you haven't noticed, a through line in my hobbies or this video itself, whether it's painting, music, or SBA loans, creativity is important to me. I love to create, and I love to problem solve to get that creation from my mind out into reality. So hold that thought, and let's get back to SBA lending. Okay, so it's 2022, it's a post-COVID world. I've just sold my cafe after 6 years, work from home is now a thing, and I want to be home as much as possible with my wife and kids. So I just start reaching out to all my friends who work from home. Hey, just want to see if you have any openings. And I almost took a different banking job, but before that happened, I reconnected with an old friend on my birthday. He had an opening as an SBA loan coordinator. Sounds interesting, but I have no idea what it is. I owned a business and I used to be a project manager, so sounds like something I could do. I get the job and I'm just eating up all this information. It was a slow start, so I made myself these flashcards to memorize the SOP. I certainly don't need them anymore, so I don't know why I have them, but I can't bring myself to get rid of them. But it very quickly becomes clear that SBA lending is this niche world with its own little ecosystem, and all this creativity and deal structuring centered around cash flow. There's all these rules, but they can slide around at times, and a deal that's terrible could be made amazing with a single new piece of information. And I'm watching all these BDOs on our Friday credit calls telling the story of the loan. Credit's trying to poke holes in the deal, and BDOs are blocking those jabs with new information that strengthens the deal. This ain't residential mortgage lending. The story, the narrative of a deal really matters in SBA lending. And I want to tell stories. Okay, so now you know a little bit about me. I was homeschooled, I have a lot of hobbies, I had a business, I sold it, and I'm an SBA BDO now. But so what? Well, now you know something about me, and maybe consider this video something of an icebreaker. If you watch this and you think we might work well together, then I'm going to put my email in the comments of this video, and this is just an invitation to reach out to me and to try to get to know each other, old school. So for now, thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll talk soon.